Hello, this is my presentation for Breadth of Cybersecurity Law, made by me, Adrian Andrade, and let's begin. Alright, breadth of cybersecurity law, what is that exactly? Well, in this case, breadth means extent, and cybersecurity is the field responsible for protection online, and then cybersecurity law is the cybersecurity laws governing cybersecurity, or laws governing cybersecurity. So put them together, it's the extent of cybersecurity law. That's what that means. Our objectives is to cover the relationship between ethics and law. Second, to describe civil disobedience and show relation to unethical hacking, how those two are related. I will also describe some government or criminal penalties for unethical hacking. So if you're caught hacking, I will showcase some penalties for doing that if you're caught. And I'll also describe some gray areas of technology. If you don't know what that is, I will go into further detail when we reach that slide. All right, so ethics and law. So what exactly is ethics? Ethics refers to moral principles. They're basically, everybody has ethical principles. Everybody has a sense of what's right and what's wrong. So that's what ethics has to do with that. They're principles of conduct governing a person. Secondly, the law is a body of rules in a society, and these rules are enforced by a ruling authority. So that's what those two are. Here are some examples of ethics and law. As you see that ethics, you've probably already seen these before: honesty, loyalty, fairness. And then laws are like never to lie in court or in never to steal government documents. But what similarity that I found between ethics and law is that they both involve rules. Like if you want to be honest, it means to never lie. That's the rule, never to lie. And if you want to be loyal, that's to never betray someone that you're loyal to. And fairness, the rule is to treat everybody equally, to treat everybody fairly. Um, and law is all about rules, never to lie, in court or whatnot. Next up, all right, so here's some more examples. Another example is doing whatever makes you happy. That's the rule. If it doesn't make you happy, then don't do it. That's the thing. Ethical principle in this case doubles as a rule. It's an ethical principle, but it's also a rule. And rules are what laws are all about. The difference here is that ethics, like doing whatever makes you happy, isn't enforceable. There isn't like any penalties for not doing that. So next up, civil disobedience. So what is civil disobedience? In the simple terms, it's the refusal to obey government demands or commands. That's basically what it is. Here are some examples of civil disobedience. We got the Rosa Parks bus boycott, the Mahatma Gandhi Salt March, and the massacre of Sharpeville. All of these are examples of civil disobedience because they all involve disobeying government laws. For Rosa Parks, it's pretty much disobeying the law for a black person to sit in the front of the bus. And I don't really know much about the Salt March and the massacre of Sharpeville, but I am very familiar with Rosa Parks bus boycott. So how does civil disobedience relate to unethical hacking? So unethical hacking, I forgot to go over this in the presentation, but unethical hacking is basically like stealing documents online, gaining unauthorized access to restricted networks, um, social engineering for malicious reasons. So all of that stuff, in simple terms, is unethical. Um, and how does unethical hacking relate to civil disobedience? Well, it has to do with morality. It has to do with what's right and what's wrong. I think a great example here is Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden, if you don't know the story, Edward Snowden was someone who worked in the NSA, the National Security Agency. And eventually, he saw that there was a lot of stuff that they were doing wrong, and he became a whistleblower. And he released a lot of classified government documents to the world, and it basically revealed that the NSA was illegally surveying its citizens. So that was bad. And I think this relates to civil disobedience because um, the way he did it, stealing government documents, that's never a good thing, but it had a good effect, and it basically told everybody that there was corruption in the government. So that's why I think it relates to this here. Oh, I left that there. Whoops, my bad. Just focus on the bullet points. So here's our some criminal penalties to unethical hacking. If you're caught, if you're caught unethical hacking, you can face up to 10 years in prison. And this is because getting caught unethical hacking is considered a felony charge, which carries a sentence of 10 years in prison. And this is enforced by the CFAA, the Computer something Act. Sorry, I forgot. And penalty for stealing national security data is faced to 10 years in prison. So those are some penalties for unethical hacking. And I just want to go in general, but basically with the penalties is that they actually do make a lot of sense. It's like stealing is not really a good thing, and this is no different than it is online. So gaining unrestricted access online is no different than getting access to an unrestricted zone in the real world. There's just no difference. Same with stealing. So what are gray areas of technology? Gray areas are basically areas in technology that the law hasn't covered yet. So the law doesn't really, as you can probably tell, the law doesn't really cover every technological innovation. And considering how fast technology is advancing, it's kind of difficult for law to really catch up with that sort of thing. So some examples are e-cigarettes. It's kind of unclear whether e-cigarettes are like good or bad, that sort of thing. And even smartphones in classroom, like, there's, if you've ever like been in class, like sometimes the teacher will allow cell phones in the classroom and sometimes they won't. So it's kind of up in the air whether smartphones are really something that should be allowed in the classrooms. It's kind of up in the air for right now for that sort of thing. Um, and these are all basically a gray areas defined by a lack of proper regulation. And that's the whole presentation. Thank you. Awesome.